Devotion, as we saw in the last class, is not to be confused with feeling, since its essential note is the readiness of the will with which we give ourselves to the service of God. Devotion is therefore based on a permanent disposition, which is usually given the technical name of habit. Now, it is a habit that allows us to produce, here and now, as concrete circumstances demand, that act of will without which it becomes impossible not only to fulfill duty, but to go beyond duty and act out of love and generosity. But if devotion can be categorized in terms of a permanent and stable habitual disposition by virtue of which we become willing to serve God, how can it grow and develop? First of all, we need to be aware of the fact that, as St. Thomas Aquinas points out, the extrinsic and main cause of devotion can only be God Himself. It is He, in fact, who gives to anyone who wants to be devout, in such a way that, if He had so willed, He could have aroused the most religious spirits among the most indifferent Samaritans. But like any habit, devotion can and must grow in our souls through our personal effort. This is why Aquinas says without fear that the intrinsic cause of devotion, that is, that which depends on us, is meditation or contemplation. And the reason for this is clear. The object proper to the will is the being under the reason of the good, that is, in so far as it is desirable. It so happens that the will can only tend to a particular good in so far as it is, to a greater or lesser degree, known by the will. Nihil volitum nisi precognition, says an ancient philosophical axiom. Nothing can be desired unless it is first known, apprehended by the intellect. Otherwise, the will would not even know, so to speak, of the good that attracts it. Therefore, the most intensely we know a good, the more ardently we desire it, the more firmly we are willing to pay the price of owning it. Now, devotion, as stated above, consists in the practice of an act of the will, by which readily surrenders himself to divine service. Therefore, devotion will be more and more intense and profound the greater our knowledge of its object, that is, divine service and, ultimately, God Himself, whom we wish to serve. And it is meditation above all on the divine goodness and on the countless benefits with which the Lord favors our misery, the way to see with an ever more penetrating and passionate gaze how sweet the Lord is. If devotion is born from considering the greatness of God and the smallness of man, how can this precious gift not blossom in our soul through meditation on the greatest good that Jesus has given us, His own Mother, the most perfect of creatures, and of the most excellent of the benefits with which He has enriched us, the spiritual motherhood of Mary Most Holy. What an extraordinary grace it is to have her as a mother and intercessor! What a priceless treasure the Lord bestowed on us when He spoke those words, addressing all men, represented in the person of the beloved disciple: Behold your mother. May our understanding, therefore, delve into these truths, as sweet as they are sublime, and that, in this light, may our will seek with hasty and ready hope the union of love that God wants to have with us.